Hello, Dennis here, and for today's video I'm going to be answering some of the questions that people ask on Google about mathematics and mathematicians. Now, the way this works is that I'm going to be typing some phrase on the laptop here in the Google search engine, and Google's AI will try to predict based on what people actually search for. In fact, on the Google support page it says autocomplete predictions reflect real searches that have been done on Google. So when I type a phrase here, Google will try to predict based on what people have searched previously. It's a bit more complicated than that. It also uses location, but we'll just keep it simple and hope that we'll get some nice questions. So let's start with something like, why is mathematics? Okay, we have some recommended questions here already. So let's start with the first one. Why is mathematics compulsory in schools? Or at least mathematics is compulsory in my region here in East Africa, and I think the same goes for many education systems around the world. So yes, why is mathematics compulsory? Especially up to like high school, without going into the advanced or A-level kind of math. So yes, mathematics is compulsory because I think it's needed to understand concepts in other subjects like biology and chemistry, mainly physics and chemistry, and then also computer science. Yes, you need a lot of math to understand some of those things there. Mathematics also teaches analytical and logical reasoning because of the way it's designed. You have to think of what formula to use and how to apply it. So yeah, I think that's why mathematics is made compulsory. If math is not compulsory in your education system, let us know in the comments below and what education system that is. Okay, second question, why is mathematics so important? Yes, I like this one. Now, mathematics is so important. It's very important. In fact, without math, you find that many things would be very difficult in life or in the study of many other things. So math helps us in many ways. We design algorithms like in computer science using math, and even in our daily lives, you have to know what exchange rates will be good for you. If you're making a home budget, personal kind of finance, all that requires some bit of mathematics and many other things. In fact, to take it a step further, mathematics is like the language we use in science to describe nature. We talk about things like forces, and that's kind of a thing that has both qualitative and quantitative properties. So we can talk about it conceptually, but we also need to calculate it and then draw conclusions from that later. So yeah, mathematics is essentially a language we use to describe many things in science. So math is really very important in that respect. Okay, this one looks interesting too. Why is mathematics so hard? So yes, I think a lot of people find mathematics to be hard because they lack some basic principles of math, some basic axioms, some basic way of doing stuff like handling arithmetic operations, the order of doing that, and some other few basics. And then after knowing those basics, you need a lot of practice. Mathematics is mainly based on practice. The more you practice, the better you will get at logic and analysis and trying to find your way through a problem. So I think people who find math hard haven't probably given it so much time, or they lack some basics. And I don't know so much about this, but there could be some biological reasons why some people may not be good at math, but that's, I think, a very minor case. If you look at the world today, the percentage of people who think math is hard is overwhelmingly big, to think that all those have some biological problem that or sort of a dysfunction that makes them not good at math. So I think for the majority of people who find math hard, it's because they lack the basic concepts, and then others do lack enough practice to familiarize with the concepts. Okay, why is math considered as a language? Yes, I already talked about that. Mathematics has been largely described as the language of science. We use a lot of math to talk about scientific concepts. We use math to calculate things and then come up with concepts that we state mathematically. I gave an example of let's say forces like F equals ma. It's a mathematical expression, a very important one. Talk about Schrodinger's equation and many others. They're all mathematical equations, and yet they are describing things that physically happen in the real world. So mathematics is the best language we can use to state some fundamental scientific phenomena or principles. How is math related to science? I think that's very similar. Why is math important in early childhood education? Yes, I think one of the basic components of math is that it teaches analysis and logical reasoning, and that's something that kids need. So yeah, mathematics should be taught to kids at a very early age to teach them how to think and approach problems and solve problems. It helps them to have that kind of analytical mindset as they grow. Okay, let's change the phrase. Let's do something like, why do mathematicians... Okay, we already have some recommendations here. Why do mathematicians use chalk? Well, I don't know about that. I actually prefer chalk while teaching students. I find that a little bit easier, but that's also largely because in many of the environments I work in, that's what is available. But yeah, it's a personal preference. I don't think it is something very specific tied to mathematicians. I'll probably find out if you like chalk or like to use markers. Tell us in the comments. We'll see those who like chalk and those who prefer another mode. Okay, next question, and this is interesting. Why do mathematicians go insane? So this is interesting and scary at the same time. Mathematicians going insane, well, I don't think this is because of the mathematics, and I don't think this is a true statement that mathematicians always go insane. And I think this is based on a very small sample of mathematicians who have probably gone insane or crazy. And I think sometimes the lifestyle that mathematicians lead is sort of, they spend a lot of time lonely trying to work on problems because they need to concentrate. And so the society could interpret them as being insane when they are actually normal people. So I don't think being a mathematician really makes one insane, although there could be few cases, especially for mathematicians at research level, like PhD, when they're doing their research and trying to work on very abstract and hard problems and the solutions are not really coming out, they could get frustrated and have some mental illness. But yeah, that happens on a smaller scale, and on a large scale, I wouldn't say that mathematics causes insanity. Why do mathematicians hate statistics? I don't think so. I do love statistics, and I think a lot of mathematicians love statistics. It's just that if you study math so high enough, then you're forced to choose to go in one field or another. So you might say do something like real analysis or something in calculus or something else, and not specifically tied to statistics. But statistics is an interesting field. In fact, some of the best fields like data science today are based mainly on statistics. The fact that Google is able to predict these questions is somewhat based on statistics, on the data that people have been typing in the search engine. So I think statistics is a really interesting field, and mathematicians have no reason to hate it. Why do mathematicians have bad handwriting? I don't know about that. They have bad handwriting. Let us know in the comments. Why do mathematicians confuse Halloween and Christmas? Okay, there's this one. Why do mathematicians die early? I think this is also based on a small sample. I wouldn't say generally mathematicians die early. At least Leonhard Euler and Albert Einstein both died at the age of 76. Isaac Newton died at the age of 84. Who else? Okay, we have, of course, probably a few of them, like Ramanujan, who died at an early age of 32. And that's not because of math, it's because of some illness. Richard Feynman died at 69, if I'm not mistaken. So I wouldn't generally say that mathematicians die at an early age. And I think that's something that is concluded based on a small sample, and I don't think that can be generalized. Why do mathematicians believe in God with a small g? I believe in God with a capital G, because he is the greatest mathematician I've ever known. Okay, last one here. Why do mathematicians see math as beautiful? Well, we don't just see it as beautiful, but it is indeed beautiful. Okay, I think I'm running out of search terms, so I'll end the video here and probably continue with this some other time. It's interesting to see what people think and search about math and mathematicians on such a large scale like Google. So if you like to see more of these videos, let me know in the comments. I would be much more willing to continue doing this kind of stuff. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. That's very helpful for the algorithm. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.